Thanks for tuning in to episode 52 of Elk Talk Live. And we've been gone for a month. Since then, we've been to Alaska, and then I was in Minnesota last week. And now we are here. We're back home in Montana. We're trying to answer any and all questions you might have. And hopefully, when it's all said and done, we've said something that's worth your time to sit here and listen. But the good news is, elk season has already started in some states. I know Oregon, I think Idaho maybe Colorado. Archery season's already going on this weekend. Tomorrow, Saturday, it starts in Montana and Wyoming and New Mexico. It's that time. It's what we've been waiting for. So we want to make sure that everybody goes out and goes elk hunting, because the most important part about all this is to go out and do it. But Elk Talk Live is brought to you by Bowtech, by Leupold, by Onyx Maps, and hopefully you've been watching our e-scouting series that's been on our YouTube channel with Onyx. I think the last episode 11, goes live on our YouTube channel on Monday. And remember, if you're out at onyxmaps.com and you want to use that really cool app for your smartphone, use promo code Randy and save 20%. And then we've also got tight spot quivers, ripcord rests, black gold sights, GoHunt.com. Oh, right now, GoHunt.com has a 30-day free trial, right? You wonder how we get all these tags to do our show and do all of our video work? We get them because we do all this research, all these draw odds, everything we need to get those tags is right there at GoHunt.com. And right now, if you want to do that and see what it is we use, it's called the Insider Service. Go to GoHunt.com/Randy, and they will give you a 30-day free trial. I mean, you get the whole thing, the whole Insider is yours for 30 days. And then in the next week, I'm probably going to wear this stuff out right here. Rocky Mountain hunting calls, right? All this good stuff. I am going to be bugling my brains out. And if you go out to RockyMountainHuntingCalls.com, use promo code Randy, and you're going to get 15% off the best elk calls you can get. If you want to be notified of future episodes of this, text Randy, R-A-N-D-Y, to 77453. And there we go. We got all the business out of the way. Now it's time. We'll see how this works. So over behind the camera is Dan. He's taking your comments. He's copying and pasting them to a Google Doc, and they're showing up on this laptop right here. So we're going to see how our technology is going to work. Someone says, Randy, what's the sling system that you use to carry your rifle under your arm? A bunch of companies make them. Go to Google and Google gun bearer. Mystery Ranch makes one. A whole bunch of companies make them. If you Google gun bearer, you'll find it. So let's see. Someone says we're heading to Colorado next Tuesday for muzzleloader. Any advice? Well, have fun. That's my best advice. I'm sorry. I know that people want more than that, but that's a pretty vague question, so I'm going to give a vague answer. Have fun. Randy, what broadheads are you using this year? Bone broadheads. I've been shooting them. Man, they've been going really, really good. I got my bow and my brand new arrows over here. Why didn't I bring them here? I got my bow tack right there, but maybe I'll get it sometime here during the hunt. So this year I cranked up my arrow weight even higher. I'm using the full metal jacket and sticking to my 125 grain fixed blade broadheads, and I'm going to see how it works. So far at the range, it's like thump, 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 thump. Wade wants to know, are wallows still ideal to hunt over during the rut? They can be very good over the rut if you got bulls that are using them. Let's see. Using the gutless method, how do you get the heart out? If you don't bring a little saw, you come over here, more over by I usually go on the left side, I don't know why, and you take a rock, boom, smash a rib, boom, smash a rib, pull and pry it open like that, and the heart's right there. So I never carry a saw. A lot of people will carry a saw and they'll cut those ribs. Usually if I got a rock handy, it'll work just fine. Boy, you guys have got a lot of questions. Teach me to be gone this long. Someone says don't forget Utah. You're right. Utah's archery season's open right now. So is Nevada's archery season open right now. Oh boy. Randy, what seasoning do you bring for a field tenderloin? So when we were in Alaska, 2 of our friends shot sitka blacktail, and then we went and hunted sheep after that, and we had fresh sheep meat in camp. Here's a little trick. My wife's going to be mad at me for saying this, but if you want to have really, really good marinade, you can go to the store and get it. It's called Lowry's Beef Tenderizer. It's like a little package. Pour it in a 1-gallon bag and just bring the powder with you. Now, as you try it, I take a bunch of my Dog Day spice rubs and I add them in there because it's somewhat bland by itself, but it marinates the meat really, really good. Any red meats are really well done with that. You might like more garlic. You might like more peppers or more whatever. There's this company called Dog Day Spice Rubs that make really, really good rubs. And I put a little bit of their rubs in there with the marinade. And so you put a cup of water in the marinade. You put a piece of backstrap in there or a tenderloin, and you make sure it's all covered. And it usually only takes about a half hour. I let it go for 2 or 3 hours. We did this up in Alaska, and everybody is asking, where are you getting this? Oh my goodness. Well, there's a little secret sauce to it, but the base of it is Lowry's Beef marinade and tenderizer. Chad wants to know, Randy, did you get a llama yet? I didn't buy one, but on Tuesday I'm going down to pick up Marcus, McShane, Butch, and Tokyo. Got 4 llamas coming with us pretty much all season. And our buddy Bo, the other part, our friend Bo, so we got a lot of things going on here with llamas. So Leupold has this big campaign going on called Marcus the Public Land Llama. So the Marcus llama I'm picking up, that was the brainchild of Leupold. And then they're doing a bunch of stuff in partnership with OnX, where you're going to get to know, there's big stories of here's where Randy and Marcus are, and they're going to follow us across the West this year. And so a lot of you are going to have at least a pretty good general idea of where we're hunting because of this public land campaign. So Leupold wanted to do their support for public lands in a non-traditional way. So they decided, let's go to Bo at Wilderness Ridge Trail Llamas. Let's get one of his llamas. Let's name it. And let's have Randy take that and a bunch of other llamas across the country and talk about public lands. So that's what we're going to do. And there's a new YouTube channel about llamas. If you're interested in learning about llamas, go and subscribe to Bo Beatty. Him and his wife Kirsten of Wilderness Ridge Trail Llamas have their own YouTube channel. We've been doing a bunch of videos for them called Llama Life. It's a whole playlist we've done for them called Llama Life. And now that it's hunting season, a lot of the videos are going to start switching over from farming and raising and training llamas to hunting with llamas. So that was a really, really good question. I'm glad that Chad asked that. Okay. I'm going to try to read some of these, Dan. They are coming in fast and furious. All right, Randy, in your opinion, I'm glad someone asked my opinion. So that prefaces that may not be fact, that's going to be opinion. Randy, in your opinion, is a single pin slider okay for a Western elk hunt, or do you think a multi-pin sight is needed or superior in that situation? I'm going to say, in my opinion, it's whatever works for you. For me, right over here, I got to grab it, folks. So, Dan's, are you going to grab my bow?
Yep.
All right. So, here's what I have. I have a black gold slider. You can see it's got 3 pins on it. 20, 30, 40. When you get old eyes like mine, you just struggle with 50 and beyond. And so if I say I hit an animal and it was out there and it's past my 40-yard pin and I wanted to get a second arrow in it, I'm about ready to put my tape on here. Right here, you'll see there's a little red notch. Black Gold makes tapes for whatever your feet per second is of your arrow. And I'll get that zeroed in there. I'm in the process of doing that this weekend. So then I can use this as a slider, but I lock mine in at the very top and I just go with, this is the first year I've went from 4 pins down to 3. This year, 20, 30, 40. I used to have 20, 30, 40, 50. I used to have 4 pins. But I've thought about it and I've decided I hunt archery to try to get closer and closer and closer. And it just seems like more fun for me. And I want to be good and comfortable and know that when I take a shot, I'm really confident it's going to go there. So that's why I got rid of my 50-yard pin. Back to your question, if you can do it with a single pin slider, do it. I mean, Black Gold makes really good single pin. They can customize however many pins you want in there. So really good sights, really slick how they work. So Brian, Randy, I'm experiencing target panic or distance panic. Have you ever experienced it and how do I correct it? You know, I've not experienced it and I'm thankful for that because I've got some friends who have and they've really struggled to get past it. I hope I don't get one or get it, but I don't have an answer of how you get past it. I would go talk to somebody who really knows archery, who's maybe been through it. Talk to look for the old gray-haired guys. And I don't mean that in any bad way, but they've probably been through it or they know someone who has, and just try to do it. There's a guy in Oregon. What was his name? He's got a website like the Iron something Archer. Anyhow, he has a website about it's a module, and some of it is about target panic. So let's see. Travis Simmons asked, does Bo, your buddy, have llamas to rent around the Gila? No, I think the closest you'd have to rent them from him in southern Utah and take them down to New Mexico. But at this point in time, I think he might be booked up for the year. He gets booked up way in advance because his llamas are the bomb. Whatever term you want to use, they are so great. Alicia says, Randy, I love your shirt. Where do we get one? Go to hunt2eat.com. That's who makes these shirts. We've been doing some humorous stuff with them lately, and it's amazing how many people want to buy these shirts. It's really cool. So go to hunt2eat.com. They have them. Oh boy, man! There are so many Instagram ones. I can't even. This is crazy. All right. So Nate wants to know, Randy, you often recommend the book by Jack Ward Thomas called Elk and Elk Ecology. Is there a place to get that at an affordable price? Yes, one of our listeners realized that out on Amazon, that book was going for $300 to $500. Well, the Wildlife Management Institute, WMI, has it for like $60. So there you go. Go get it out at WMI, Wildlife Management Institute, and you can get it for a lot less. So, a lot of people thanking us for the Onyx e-scouting videos. Thanks. I'm glad that a lot of people are using them. Oh boy, this one says, if you couldn't live in Montana, what state would you live in? If I was younger, I'd say Alaska. Right now, if they said you can't live in Montana, I'd live in Wyoming. Yeah, that's what I'd do. Have I ever considered shooting a recurve or longbow? Yes, I have. I always tell my friends who shoot traditional archery that someday when I grow up, I want to be like them. But I've got a really bad left wrist. I've got 2 bum shoulders, and I'm getting old. And I've just said, you know what? I struggle enough staying somewhat competent with a compound bow. So it's just probably never going to happen for me. I wish I would have grown up in an archery family or an archery culture. I would have been into the traditional side because it's just a ton of fun. Randy, does the 7mm 08 outperform the 308? No, not really. They're built on the same case. It's just one is the 7mm 08 is just a 308 neck down to a .284 caliber, which is the 7mm caliber. They're very close. You get a little flatter ballistics out of the 7mm 08 because it usually shooting a lighter bullet, usually maxes out at about 140 grain, whereas the 308 you might get up to 180 grain. So you're going to have a little bit different in ballistics, but I love them both. They're my two favorite cartridges. And I get a lot of people argue with me about that, and that's fine. But up in Alaska, for me, there was a sheep, and for one of our guest hunters, there was a Sitka black-tailed deer that fell to the hands of 7mm 08. So, all right. Dan, you're throwing them at me so fast in here, I can't get them all, but that's good. Oh, Joe Santos. Randy, how long would you wait before you start on the blood trail with an elk? Part of it would be what I saw for the shot and the impact and the animal's reaction. How close it is to dark. There's a lot of things. Is it raining? Is it just after a rain? There's a lot of things that go into answering that question. But as a general rule, I'm going to wait at least an hour, maybe two. If I heard and saw him fall or probably fall, yeah, I'm going to go right there. But if it's something and I'm a little bit questionable, I'm going to wait a while. Everyone else is going to probably have a different answer to that, but that's, for me anyhow, how I do it. Let's see. Do I have a favorite calling sequence, or do you try to emulate a bull once you've got a response? I can't say I have a favorite calling sequence. I'm still learning so much. So you may be listening to the podcast I do with Corey Jacobson. It's called Elk Talk, kind of like this Elk Talk Live. Well, Corey and I have a podcast we just started in July called Elk Talk. And Corey is such a nice guy. He would never say, Randy, you're kind of an annoyance. But I have the benefit of being able to ask Corey, all these questions. So I preface that by saying I'm not the expert. I'm out there, I'm experimenting a lot, trying to see what's working, not working. I will say I probably bugle way more than I did. I'd say I started bugling a lot 4 or 5 years ago. And as far as that sequence goes, just for me, sometimes it just depends on how I feel. It also depends on what I've been hearing in the days prior. If I've been out there and it seems like I'm just hearing far distant locating bugles, I might do the same thing. Seldom do I start with a cow call. And as far as the sequence, once I get close, that just depends on what I'm hearing, how active that bull is. Does he sound really wound up? Does he sound like he's pushing his cows away? It's really hard to answer what sequence would be best. So, Jake says, any good fishing in Montana if I get bored with not seeing any elk? I'll be hunting in Region 3. That's right here in Bozeman. Worth bringing a fly rod. I don't know if that's a joke or if that's for real, but Jake, where I'm sitting right here, I'm within an hour drive of the Yellowstone River, the Missouri River, the Madison River, the Gallatin River, the Jefferson River, maybe an hour and a half to the Beaverhead and Big Hole. So, yeah, if you're into fly fishing, this is like ground zero for Western fly fishing. Okay. All right, Eric, I knew someone would ask. Randy, new tires. So we've been talking about new tires for the new Titan that we have, right? Well, yesterday we went and made our final decision. We had so many great comments from people, and tomorrow we're loading up a video about what the answer is and how we got to that decision. But I live in a place where there's snow and ice I got to deal with about 5 to 6 months out of the year. So when I was doing my priority of what features I'm looking for, how it performs on snow and ice was a higher priority than if I lived in New Mexico or Arizona or California. So it came down to the BF Goodrich and the Cooper AT3. It was neck and neck. And Cooper split the AT3 into into three new, I'll call them submodels of the tire. And the XLT is the one I ended up going with because that tire, the composition of the rubber, the way it's siped and all that stuff makes it a better snow tire than any of the others I looked at. So that's what we ended up with, and the video tomorrow that goes live on YouTube will explain a lot of that. But thanks for asking. I'm sure everybody's going to say, Newberg, you're an idiot. Those are crappy tires or whatever. If they're crappy, I'll let you know. If they're good, I'll let you know. So, someone's asking a question about our e-scouting. Randy, in your e-scouting, you have an A, B, and C area. How big are they in diameter and how big of a diameter are each of these areas? It depends. I would say usually if you want to use a circle of diameter, the diameter, not the radius, the diameter is probably 2 to 4 miles of each of those three areas. So yeah, if you go to that video about the e-scouting, I would say that's probably a general idea. Sometimes it's a little bigger, sometimes it's a little smaller. Joey's reading our mail. Ever considered doing an open podcast where we can come and ask questions live and have a meet and greet? Yeah. Have we considered it? Yeah. Is it going to happen? I would bet in the next year you're going to hear about it. That's all I got to say about that. Man, there are so many questions. I'm going over to Facebook for a little while. I've been ignoring them for a bit here. All right, Adam asks, Randy, so you went over what to look for in your glassing spots during the e-scouting series. And my question is, what determines when you make your move to stock an elk? In rifle season, what determines is how much daylight I have they bedded, what's the wind doing? Because very often you will see them and they've just come out for the evening. Well, if I got enough light, I'm just boogieing over there. Sometimes it starts getting light and you see them right at the first little crack of light that you can see. You make out the image of a bull. Well, I have to be thinking, do I have time to get there before he heads to his bed? Because in the post-rut period and in the late season, they're going to go to their bed right away. So a lot of times, if I don't feel I can get there in time, I'm just going to watch him and see what he does. And once he goes in beds, then I make my move to get over there and be set up for the afternoon. So it's not a perfect science. A lot of it, I guess, is trial and error. A lot of it just comes from the experience of, hey, I tried that one time and man, that was a dumb idea, Randy. I'm not doing that again. Richard asks, will there be an e-scouting series for mule deer? We've been asked that so many times in the last couple of weeks. The answer is no, and here's why. The principles we used for this elk e-scouting series talked about the 4 basic needs and the 5 seasonal periods in which we hunt them. Now, for elk, we have early season, pre-rut, peak rut, post-rut, late season. For deer, we have the same thing. It's just that they fall at different times on the human calendar. And deer have the same 4 basic needs as elk: food, water, sanctuary, and seasonally they have breeding. So really, you just have to move your calendar a little bit to reflect when deer are in each of these seasonal periods. And their needs are going to be pretty similar to elk needs during those seasonal periods. But you need to understand, deer eat differently than elk. Deer are browsers, elk are grazers. There's a lot of differences in how they behave, but if you use the same principle of, all right, here's the period I'm hunting a post-rut period. And I know in post-rut, the bucks are looking for food. Well, I'm going to go hunt a late season post-rut food source. That's where I'm going to find them. So kind of same principle applies. So That's why we're not going to do another series on another species. I think most people can look at that and adapt it and make it work for other species. So, boy, a bunch of people asked a similar question. All right, preferred boots for the mountains. When we were in Alaska, the first day that we did Sitka Blacktail, we hiked, it took us a 6-hour hike with heavy packs up this nasty stuff, run around on those mountains. Then we went on the sheep hunt. The first day we went in, it's 13 miles from where the trucks were parked to where our camp was set. We got partway the first night, did the rest the second day, and then every day was 10 to 12 miles in terrible, nasty, ugly scree. That sheep hunt day-by-day series is going to start rolling out next Tuesday on our YouTube channel, and when you see that terrain, you'll really be wondering, what boots are they wearing? Well, Kenetrek came out with a new boot this year called the Mountain Guide. It's a bit of a combination of the Mountain Extreme that I've used for 10, 12 years, and their guide, I think it was called the Pro Guide. Anyhow, it was a really stiff sheep hunters only boot. Well, they kind of have a happy medium now called the Mountain Guide. And that's what I started hiking in this summer, and that's what we took to Alaska, and it is unbelievable. I will be wearing that non-insulated Kenetrek Mountain Guide the rest of the season. I will wear it until it gets really, really cold. And I was so impressed. And Marcus had a pair, and Marcus walked even more miles than I did in Alaska, and I asked him, what do you think? And he just got a big smile. I was very, very impressed. So, So, Randy, is the difference in elevation between Oklahoma, where I live, and Colorado, where I'm going hunting, going to change the way my bow shoots? It shouldn't change it much, but it will change it some. For short distances, it's usually negligible. For rifle hunting, it can have a pretty big impact once you get way out there. So when I get there, I just shoot and check. I'd bring a small target and I'd be doing some field points and make sure that I'm still in the same spot. So, and the reason being is at lower elevation, air is heavier. Some people say the air is thicker. And so because the air is heavier, more dense, you're going to have more drop. At higher elevation, the air is thinner or less dense, and it's going to have a little less of an effect. But again, has a greater effect with rifles, way greater effect than it does with a bow. I've never even worried about it. I just bring a target with me, and if it's still looking good, I don't worry about it. So, What is the longest you've sat in a ground blind? Not very long. I'm not very good at it. Archery antelope hunting in New Mexico a couple times, I've probably did a 3 or 4 hour sit, but I'm just not one of those guys who can do that. I admire people who can hunt from a ground blind or a tree stand, but I am not that guy. I don't know how else to say it. All right, let's go back to this Google Doc. Holy cow, Dan, how many do you have here?
Quite a few.
Whew, how am I going to get to all these? All right, Mike Crofts asks, Randy, what knives are you using? And do you use the big game vital or the regular vital when working on an antelope? I'm glad that someone asked that question. Right here at my feet, I have my 2 favorite Gerber knives. You can see one is appropriately named the Big Game Vital, and one is named the Vital. If I was doing an antelope, it's going to be with the Vital. You can see that Gerber they have figured out the replaceable blade system. They have the best mechanism for replacing the blade. You know how some of these replaceable blade knives, you almost feel like you're going to lose a finger just trying to get the blade off and on? Or it's cold, or it's dark, and you're doing it by headlamp, and you got to have your own multi-tool to get that off there? Now with Gerber, it's got a little push button. Boink, put a new one back on. So for deer and for antelope, I'm using the standard size vital. For elk and for a moose hunt. So you've seen a moose hunt with my son last year here in Montana. That's out on our YouTube channel. It's also now on our Amazon channel. If you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, go out there and you'll see that video. But you'll see us using this big game vital. Serious knife. And when you buy these, it comes with some spare replacement blades there. So hopefully that answers what I do and why I do it. All right, someone says, are you ever worried about bears in camp? We keep a pretty clean camp. If you read what the regulations are, when you're camping on national forest or BLM land, a lot of people may not know this, but there's requirements about how you have to keep your camp, especially in grizzly country. And since we live in grizzly country and we spend so much time in grizzly country, we take those same principles no matter where we go. Even if we go to New Mexico or Arizona and there's not grizzly bears, but there's black bears, we still keep a meticulously clean camp. We have our camp here. We have all of our stinkies, all of our food, our trash, other effects that are going to possibly attract a bear. Those are a couple 100 yards away, hung up in a tree, away from the trunk of the tree where the bear can't get to it. That in itself is a very big part of bears staying away from your camp. Don't have a camp where you're throwing food wrappers or cooking crazy big meals there. You're inviting a bear encounter if you do that. Just common sense. So that's what we do. Same when we shoot an animal. We go find some place a couple 100 yards away. We make sure that our camp is upwind. We don't want camp downwind because the bear comes in, he's following that scent that's coming from upwind. Well, if our camp is downwind, he's going to walk right through our camp. So we do that. Again, we hang our meat. We put it in some place that hopefully we can observe it from a distance as we're coming in there. So if a grizzly had messed with it, we're going to see it. There's a whole bunch of stuff out there about how to have a good camp that's less likely. There's no guarantees, but it's far less likely that you're going to end up with a bear in your camp if you do the right things. So, let's see. Boy, there's a bunch of them here. What's that? This person must have watched one of our videos here in Montana. Randy, would you ever recommend sleeping under the stars again to wait out an elk? I did that in 2011 here in Montana and just about froze to death because, and here's why, I just had a very thin shirt with me and thin pants. It got down into the 40s and the wind picked up to about 40 miles an hour up on the mountain and it was brutal. Would I do it again? Yeah, I would, but this time I wouldn't be a knucklehead. I'd make sure I have the right stuff with me. So that was just stupid on my part. But I do a lot of stupid things. All right. Let's see. How many points did I have for the Wyoming pronghorn tag I drew this year? 3. I drew in 2014, so I had a point from 2015, 16, 17. And that's where the whole GoHunt insider system is so valuable. Those draw odds, all that information, multiple year draw odds where you can see trends of what people are doing, invaluable. Go to GoHunt.com/Randy and do the 30-day free trial. I might even have Dan copy a link to that 30-day free trial. Out on our Hunt Talk forum, here, I'm going to do it right now because it's so easy. Open in a new tab. There you go, right there. Randy Newberg. A lot of you people give me grief about the way I talk about my introduction to my podcast. People will come up to me, Randy Newberg here. I'm like, gee, dang. Guy can't get cut any slack around here. All right, I'm going to post that in there, Dan. Okay. I think. So that people know where they can go and get their 30-day free trial. Why is it not letting me post a comment?
Here, I can do it.
Yeah? All right. You got the one that has Randy on it? Don't.
Oh no, it's Lorenzo.
Yeah, you gotta go to / Randy. Dan's about ready to get fired here. Have I ever hunted elk in Canada? No, I haven't. I've got some people in. Let's see. Which one did you? I saw you put one up there, Dan. Is it?
There's the right one now.
Okay. Did you delete the wrong one?
Yes.
Okay. No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
No, you didn't. The wrong one's still up there. I'm gonna delete that one. It's still there.
On your page?
Mm-hmm. Right here. I'm gonna hide this one. Hide comment. All right. We don't want to send people to the wrong place. All right. We're good. Hey, Dean, a guy from northern Minnesota is asking me, is that a Big Falls accent? It might be, Dean, but remember, Big Falls beat Big Fork at everything in basketball and football when I was there. So now just don't be getting carried away here. Let's see. How long does a diaphragm call last? 1 season, a half season? A part of that, obviously, is how much you use it, how much calling you do. I can usually get the better part of a season because I have one call. I really like this new Reaper that Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls has come out with. This is my new favorite bugle. And then there are cow calls that I use. There's times where I'll actually, because I practice more with a cow call than I do with a bugle, I'll wear out a cow call quicker than I will a bugle call or a bugle read. So I'll probably go through 2 or 3 cow calls in a year just because of how often I'm practicing. And but it just depends. But go to Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls and use promo code Randy and save 15%. Wow, Instagram has so many on here. This is unbelievable. Let's see. Is the 243 a great antelope gun? Yep, sure is. It's built on the same case as the 7mm08 and the 308. So someone says, I'm doing the 30-day free trial right now. Wow, this is great. Spent an hour looking at da-da-da. Well, keep doing that. Shedding Light Outdoors, whoever that is. I hope a bunch of people do it. I know a lot of people think that, oh, you're just lucky, Newberg, or you're a TV guy. That's why you draw all these tags. I spend, it's embarrassing how many hours I spend researching where we're going to apply, the draw odds, how many points, what people have been doing. Is it a unit that's now kind of out of favor that people aren't that interested in? I apply in a lot of those units because they usually, when they start going out of favor, they go down, and then there's usually a year where it just drops. And that year when it just plummets, that's a year when I can jump in there with maybe less points than I thought and get that tag, which is how I ended up with my Wyoming pronghorn tag and my Colorado deer tag this year. But go to GoHuntcom / Randy and get the 30-day free trial, and you'll see why it works so good for us. Shane asks, Randy, what's your favorite supplement to take while hunting? I can't take supplements. And you're going to see this when we start the sheep hunt video starting next Tuesday. I have a bum liver. I've got a strange liver condition where I only get about 20 to 30% of the blood flow to my liver that all of you would get. And if any of you are doctors or nurses or medical practitioners watching this and I tell you I don't have a portal vein, you're going to be like, what? So last week I was at the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota getting my annual updates, and they look at my liver, do all the tests, and they're like, Randy, you're doing better than anyone we see with this condition. Just, get more rest and go do what you've been doing. But when your liver's bad, take it easy. All right. I always forget the take it easy part. But anyhow, this is why I don't do supplements. Not because I have anything against them, but I don't put anything in my body without the nutritionists here in Bozeman, or when I go back to the Mayo Clinic, their nutritionists or their people looking at what I'm eating or what I'm putting in my body. Because my liver makes me super, hypersensitive to things. So that's why I don't do supplements. Everyone's got an opinion about them. For me, it's just a medical reason why I don't. And when you see the sheep hunt, you'll see Randy on days when his liver's not doing real well. And it wasn't because of supplements. So, what's your coffee fix of choice while hunting the backcountry? You're going to get a kick out of this. I drink coffee every morning when I'm at home, but when I'm out hunting, I never drink coffee. My tremor today is pretty good, but because of my liver condition, I have a tremor. And I think that's why you get enough toxins and it interferes with the brain function. So when I drink caffeine, some days people will see me like, man, that guy's got the DTs or something, man. So I just don't do caffeine when I'm out in the hills. So that's not a very good excuse, but when I'm here in Bozeman, I go to the Daily Coffee Bar. There's 2 of them here in Bozeman. If you ever come here, go to the Daily Coffee Bar. But what else we got? Someone's asking all kinds of, so Jared asked this. I don't know what the deal is. In the last month, I have had more people ask me, or Jared's asking, what's your profession that you can take all these hunts? And this is, I don't know how many people have asked me this in the last month. There must be something about it. But in my other life, I'm a CPA. I'm a tax accountant. And I'm not very good at it. But the beauty of being a CPA is most of your work's done by April 15th. And I do a lot of fishing and hunting and just recuperating and taking care of my body the rest of the year. And even I don't do as much CPA work now as I used to. But that's my profession. And someone said, hey, me and my buddy are arguing, and I told him you're a tax accountant, CPA, and he says horse hockey. And I am a CPA. Like I said, not a very good one. Well, this one, I did not mean for this to get into such a medical discussion. But Bart Rogers asked, wow, no portal vein? I was always wondering what that was. Never heard of that. Do you keep a quick clot in your first aid kit per the incident that happened in Oregon with Corey today? You know, watching what happened with Corey and David, I'm thinking about doing that, Bart. I don't keep it. What caused the loss of my portal vein was a very large blood clot that I let go untreated for a long time. Finally, the pain was just so bad I couldn't do it. Since then, I've had a blood clot in my heart and I've had a blood clot in my brain. So I am on I'm on a blood thinner. I would not want to have something happen to me out in the woods like happened to David, because I'm on a blood thinner for all those clots I've had. It might not be a good outcome. So thanks for that reminder. Note to self, Dan, let's go down and get some quick clot.
Good idea.
All right. See, you guys are teaching me more stuff than I'm teaching you. So Sean wants to know, do I use any citric acid, seasoning, vinegar spray, or other to protect your harvest from flies as you quarter your meat? I don't while I quarter my meat. And what I do is I get it in my game bags. A lot of people ask what game bags I use. I use Caribou game bags. They're the best game bags I've found. And as quick as I get that sealed, they're a synthetic game bag. You are not going to have any fly that can get through that synthetic game bag. So because of that, I don't have to worry about the citric acid, all that kind of stuff. And yeah, I know some people say, well, while you're doing your field dressing, they could get on there. They could. I'm always trying to get rid of it, and I try to be really quick about my work. And I'll keep an eye on my meat. And, I'll go and check it and inspect it. If it's been hanging there a day, I'm looking, I'm smelling, I'm looking in the bag. I take it pretty serious about what's going on there. All right. Kason Thomas asks, if no burns or visible beetle kill visible when e-scouting, what's the next thing to look for? We talked about that. Any type of canopy disruptions, avalanche chutes, logging, whether it's a clear cut, whether it's a thinning operation, transition areas where it goes from really, really thick timber to, say, maybe a more sparse timber. It goes from aspens to spruce or from aspens to sage. Any place where you have disruptions in the canopy are the next best places to look. Woo, someone says that they have got a Missouri Breaks rifle bull tag. Do you guys want to come and get some footage? Our season is completely booked, but Josh, you have got a great tag. My son had that tag in 2005, and that's just a special place to have a rifle tag. He shot the biggest bull in our family. It's the only bull elk that's mounted at my house, and it's in the house. My wife, all the rest of them, she says, I think those got to go out in the shop. So you got a good tag there. Nick asks, what's your opinion on the price of tags licenses? Are they set to the right price or are they too high? No matter how I answer this, just about everyone's going to be mad. I think, this is my personal opinion, and I'm going to use Montana, my home state, as an example. The ratio between what you non-residents pay and what we residents pay is about 25 to 1. That's crazy. That is stupid. And I think we as residents should pay more. And I think that you as non-residents are probably paying more than you should. Now, I hunt all these other western states as a non-resident, and I don't mind what they charge me. You know what? I'm in a situation, I'm at a point in my life where I can afford it. But I know some people can't. But when you have this huge disparity of a 25 or 30 to 1 ratio of resident to non-resident fees, I think that's a skew. And here's where it comes into play. When we have all these public land battles going on in Congress, and us Westerners who really lay the pipe to you folks who don't live out here, if you want to come and elk hunt, we call you up and we're like, hey, we need your help on all this public land stuff. And I know a lot of you say, well, obviously you don't want me to come and hunt those elk because how much you charge me. And I'm oversimplifying that a little bit, but I think it needs to be more reasonable in the disparity between the resident and non-resident. And I don't care what they set it at. I just think the ratio or the rate of one versus the other, some states are really out of hand. And so, continuing my point, if I call my buddy in Wisconsin, hey, you know what, we really need you to get on your congressman or your senator about this public land issue, he's going to say, you know what, Randy, I'm busy today. You guys don't want me out there that much. And so it has all it has tentacles that go in a lot of places when you get that far skewed when it comes to these tags. So that's strictly my opinion. Everybody can send me my hate mail. I don't do YouTube Messenger, so don't send it there. Ben asked, did I draw any New Mexico tags this year? I don't know, Dan. Are we going to New Mexico this year?
I think so.
I think we're launching here pretty soon. So, yeah, we have archery elk in New Mexico. What else we got here? Oh man. So, when do I give up on an area? When I'm seeing no sign, when I'm hearing no elk, I'll usually give up. It's time to move on. One thing I have learned, and we talked about this in our Elk Talk podcast with Corey. I think we had, was it Dirk or was it the one with David, where we're talking about the 5 mistakes, and one of them was getting in a rut. And by that, what we meant is just doing the same thing all the time and getting the same result and wondering why nothing changed. Well, you might have had a really good spot last year and something changed. Maybe tons of people, maybe, something changed in the landscape. Maybe it's a drought year and there's no food there like there was last year. Who knows what it might be. But if you go there and there's nothing there, and there's nothing there, and there's nothing there day after day, and you're moving around, it's time to pull stakes and go try something new. So I did that. I made that mistake so many times. It was crazy. And now I'm probably better at giving up and going to do something different. Let's put it that way. A lot of questions here about cover-up scents and stuff. I don't believe in them. I think they're a waste of money. If you hunt elk like I do, you can't keep from sweating. You are going to be on your hike in before the sun comes up, or if it's in archery season, you're running and gunning. You're just wasting your time trying to think you're not going to create odor. And it's all about the wind. I mean, it is the wind 100 times fold. Uh-oh, someone says, do you have a game plan for opening day of Montana archery this weekend? Yeah, my game plan is whatever my wife wants to do. I've been gone for a month, and I'm about ready to be gone for quite a few more weeks. And, well, not weeks, months between now and December. So I'm doing whatever my wife wants to do this weekend. I know some people are like, what? Anthony wants to know, are you going to finish uploading season 6 on Amazon? Yep, quick as Amazon gives the approval, they go up there. So we got a bunch more. I think we've got 3 or 4 more of them waiting. So keep checking in. They'll be there. Oh boy, somebody knows way too much about me. Some of these questions are way too personal. I'm gonna have to quit answering these Instagram questions. Shane wants to know, ever try cow elk decoys? I have a little bit, not much, and I didn't have any success, and I think that's because I just gave it a half-hearted effort. I know some people who use them really, really religiously, and they have success with them. So just because I don't use them, don't take that as the idea that somehow it's not working. It's just I've never given it the real honest effort. Have I, let's see, that one scrolled through so fast I didn't even get a chance to answer it. Someone says, do you prefer BLM or wilderness? Well, BLM can be wilderness. I think they might have meant, do I prefer BLM or Forest Service? Doesn't matter. As long as there's good elk habitat there, I'll hunt either. When am I coming back to Utah? October. I have an archery bison tag in Utah for the Henry Mountains. I mean, that's a pretty big smile right there, I know. Doug Clark, which Wyoming antelope tag did you draw? I never tell units. And you said you drew 53-1. Well, you drew a really, really good unit. Like a really good unit. Man, good for you. Ever consider elk in Michigan? I haven't. I didn't even know that non-residents could apply there. I really didn't. I thought that was a resident-only opportunity. Ever consider doing a gutless elk video completely solo for those of us that have no friends? We have our gutless video out there. It's on our YouTube channel. You can download it on VHX. We have it. Yeah, it's on our YouTube channel, and there's nothing you do differently solo versus if you got someone helping you. Same exact thing. So I would go look at that, and you'd probably be able to get the same amount of information than if we did one as just me solo. Oh, some of you people have such funny comments. I will go after this, and we kind of sort all your comments to see what people are really asking a lot about, so that it helps guide our content going forward. And I'll read some of your comments, and I will laugh so hard. Some of you people really have some good stuff. Cow calls during the rifle season. Depends on when your rifle season is. Most rifle seasons are in the post-rut or late season. Not much value there other than possibly getting them to stop if they were moving out. But I usually don't in rifle season. So, We Be Hunting asks, when you use the replaceable blades on the Gerber, what do you do with the used blades in the backcountry? I didn't show it here, but Gerber has this little plastic case of replaceable blades where you get to insert the old blade and there's a little compartment in there where the used blade goes in, and you slide the new blade out. Gerber has it figured out, folks. If you go out and look at the Gerber products, you'll find you'll find their mechanism for both the vital and the big game of how you take care of the disposed or the dull blade. A bunch of CPAs chime in. Quit telling everyone about being a CPA. You're giving away the best secret in life. All right. A lot of people, they're already too vested in what they're doing as a career. So I can talk about my stupid decision to be a CPA all I want. But my wife told me if I'm going to have an expensive habit like this, I better have a habit that pays for itself. All right. Carrie asked, did Casey and Tyler buy you a Dairy Queen this past week when they were in Bozeman? No, nobody did. Let's see. Blake wants to know, can a Canadian hunt in the United States on public land? Yes, you can. You get to apply as a non-resident just like all the rest of us apply as non-residents. So, should I bugle or cow call more in September, say the 15th through the 22nd in Colorado? Let the elk tell you what they want to hear, and go from there. Oh, Dan, you're posting some really good stuff there. To all of you who are congratulating me on that Doll sheep, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. It was a memorable hunt, and I think I told a lot of people that it's been a dream for 40 years. I never thought I'd get the chance to do it because they cost quite a bit of money, and you got to go guided. There's no way I can go up there without using a guide, and you know that all of our stuff is self-guided. But you get to a point in your life with health, with age, where you say, if I'm going to do this, I got to do it. And Eric Lee of Alaska Adventure Services just started sheep hunts this year, and he got a hold of me and said, the price would be right. And it was great. I thanks for all the kind comments on it. I never thought I'd get to do it. Someone wants to know if my wife is a CPA. No, but she runs a household budget. Do I carry binoculars during archery season? I carry binoculars when I go to the grocery store. I got my Leupold BX5s, my 8x42s or 10x42s, and they are with me everywhere I go. The old saying, don't leave home without it. Well, that's how I am with my binos. There's not a season where I wouldn't bring binos. Going out to Montana for elk in early October. See you then. What weather can I expect in the Gallatin and Custer Forest area? Well, right here where I'm sitting, the Custer Gallatin National Forest is right around Bozeman, but it extends from here all the way to the North Dakota border, all the way to Wyoming. So the weather can be really, really varied. Just expect a little bit of everything. Bring some warm clothes. It snowed down to what, Dan, this weekend? 7,200 feet. They closed the Beartooth Highway.
Something like that.
Yeah, so it can be cold. But bring some warm layers or some lighter layers because it might be warm out. So you gotta just adapt and be prepared for just about everything. So let's see. Boy, folks, you guys have really good questions today. Will cattle drive elk to a different area? I think we covered that before. I've seen where cattle grazing on public land will move elk to small distances, and after the cattle leave, a lot of times elk will come back in. But usually they try to separate a little bit. So will it move them to other areas? I'm not sure what you mean by areas. It'll move them to a different feeding location away from the cattle, is my experience. But a lot of times, and some people don't necessarily want to hear this, but there are studies that have shown grazing, if done in a certain manner at a certain time, sometimes can bring better growth for wildlife. Obviously, if you overgraze it and bomb it out, that's not good for wildlife. Where should I look for grouse this time of year? I'm not telling you. Look for where my truck is parked. No, blue grouse will be lower. Blue grouse move up during the winter, as weird as that sounds. And rough grouse are going to be even lower than the blue grouse. So, which Leupold spotter do I use? I have pretty much every Leupold spotter out there. But I'd say my go-to one, the one I end up using the most, is their Gold Ring 60mm HD. Because if you've ever seen how it's designed, it kind of stacks on top of like the eyepieces up here and the objective lenses down here. So it's really compact. It's super lightweight, got great coatings, great lenses. It just, for the kind of backpack hunting we do, it's what I end up using most of the time. So it's, I'd say go get you one. Somebody is on drugs. The Vikings are going to win the Super Bowl? Oh no, are the Vikings going to win the Super Bowl? Well, every Viking fan hopes that, but we all say never, because we've been disappointed since they started in 1960. But hey, Skol, right? I'm going to give you your phone back, Dan, because it says we got 1 minute left on what do we got there? Instagram?
Yep.
And I'm going to go look for a really good question here. But before I find one, again, we want to make sure you know who makes all this possible. Bowtech, Leupold, Onyx, Tight Spot, Ripcord, Black Gold, Rocky Mountain Hunting Calls, and GoHuntcom. All of those companies, great companies. When in doubt, use promo code Randy, right? You're going to save some money or get something out of that. And I hope you're going to our YouTube channel, because we've started loading up a lot of cool stuff. We just did Mike Spitzer's Desert Sheep Hunt, just wrapped up on our YouTube channel. Did, what was that, Dan? 6 days? And now Monday we finish our last e-scouting video. It's how to execute your plan. I mean, we've spent, 10 episodes giving you the basics, and then episodes 9 and 10, we built a pre-rut plan and then a post-rut plan. Episode 11, we talk about, now that we've given you all this information, here's how you do it on a day-by-day basis. Day of the week, day 1, day 2, day 3. So hope you're following on YouTube, because after that episode rolls out on Monday, on Tuesday, you're going to see the Doll Sheep Hunt start. And then Marcus and Michael were out archery antelope hunting today, so I don't know if we'll have anything to show from that. They probably stopped and got burgers and beer or something along the way. And then, if you're an Amazon Prime subscriber, we hope you'll go and watch our episodes on Amazon Prime. It's a high-quality viewing experience. If you're a Prime subscriber, it's free on Amazon Video Direct, and it's streamed in HD. We've been filming this stuff in HD forever, and the networks couldn't distribute a lot of places in HD. And now that I see it in HD on Amazon, I'm like, whoa, man, that's why we've been doing this. So Amazon Prime, you can follow us on YouTube. And then we've got the 2 podcasts. Hope you'll follow us there. We got the Hunt Talk Radio podcast, which is my podcast I've been doing now for over 3 years. And then we have the new podcast with Corey Jacobson called Elk Talk. You can find both of those on iTunes and Stitcher. And what else we got? We got our Hunt Talk forum, hunttalk.com. If you want a lot of information from some of the most dialed in Western big game hunters, they hang out on our forum. It's a web forum called hunttalk.com. And there are some serious knowledgeable people there. That's be another place where a lot of these questions that get asked here, I bet you we should open this up and let the Hunt Talkers answer them. They would be really good with it. Let's see. Jeremy asks, when do you take a spotting scope with you? All the time when I'm rifle hunting, and sometimes when I'm archery hunting. Let's see. We got to have one. Did you have one really good one, Dan? That's like, Randy, you got to get to this one.
I'll look.
All right. Some of these we've answered many times, so I'm not. All right, I'm going to go with this one. Marcus asks, Randy, a big fire burned up to about 10 miles from my area. Will they be in there? I think he means in the fire, from being pushed in there? Oh, okay. I'm not exactly sure the way it's worded here. A big fire burned up to about 10 miles from my area. Will they be in there from being pushed in there, or do you think they're pushed out? Well, I'm going to explain how I look at this. If I get a fire that comes close to a hunting area, I know that if it's, say the fire was in July or August, the elk, there's usually not going to be enough moisture to get any regrowth going back in that fire by the time hunting season comes. Now, if that fire was in some of the southern climates where they have a fire season in April or May, it might happen. But let's just assume it's like most places in the West. That burned area is going to be really good the following year, but not very good this year. So now you have a whole bunch of area that has really nothing for elk. It has no sanctuary. It has very little, if any, food, probably very little water. It's not like those elk pick up and fly off. They're going to be somewhere nearby. Probably the elk that were in that core fire area are probably going to be somewhere 1 to 5 or 6 miles around the perimeter of that fire. So if that fire is some funky, big, irregular shape, I will still hunt close to that fire. I'll find those little pockets and places because those elk, they got displaced because the fire destroyed a lot of their habitat temporarily. They're not going to go 30 miles or 50 miles. They're going to go the shortest distance that they need to find the things that they need. So I hope, Marcus, hope that answers the question. Thanks all of you for watching. Next week, we're going to see if we can get a connection. We're going to be, should we be out hunting that day? We might be out hunting that day. And if we are, we'll try find a connection that'll let us do this remotely. We did it from Nevada out in the bush last year. So we'll try to do it again next week. But thanks for watching. Go out. Make sure you're out hunting and have a ton of fun. Appreciate it.